we begin with Vice President Kamala Harris's closing argument less than a week before Election Day. Speaking in the same spot former President Donald Trump addressed supporters on January 6th, she focused on her goal of making progress through national unity, pledging to be a president for all Americans. But even as Harris delivered that speech in Washington, President Biden said something that could undermine her message. Nancy Cortez was at the Harris event last night. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Yeah, and as predicted, this was by far the largest rally of the campaign for Vice President Kamala Harris. An estimated 75,000 people crowded onto the ellipse and down the National Mall all the way to the Jefferson Memorial as Harris sought to draw a sharp contrast in these closing days between her vision and Donald Trump's.
It is time for a new generation of leadership in America.
Standing before a sea of supporters, Vice President Kamala Harris painted a dark picture of what a second Trump term would look like.
This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
With the White House as a backdrop, Harris stood in the same spot where Trump rallied supporters nearly 4 years ago with false claims of a stolen election.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Rioters stormed up the steps of the Capitol a short time later. Last night, Harris called for a different type of politics, vowing to work across the aisle.
Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table.
But even as she was stressing unity,
I pledge to be a president for all Americans.
President Biden was courting controversy with his reaction to this insulting comment made by a comedian at Trump's Sunday rally.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Speaking virtually to Latino voters, Biden said this.
Just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
President Biden later tweeted to clarify that he was not talking about all Trump supporters as garbage, that he was only referring to the comedian's rhetoric as garbage, adding, quote, his demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. But this was certainly not the distraction the Harris campaign needed as she heads into this very carefully orchestrated final stretch of the campaign, Tony.
No, they don't want to be in the realm of meant to say. Nancy, thank you very much.